putting the spotlight on small businesses across America. This is Inside Business with Travis Filing and Gary Tharnish.
Hello and welcome to Inside Business. We're glad you joined us today. I'm Gary Tharnish with Home Design Real Estate Group, and Travis Filing, my co-host. Well, Transformation Marketing isn't here today. I'm not sure what he's doing. Probably paying a parking ticket or something. I don't know, knowing Travis. But anyway, we have the joy of having Todd Calfee in here. Todd's with Western National Bank. And,
happy to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
A lot of familiar faces. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm a co-host.
Yay.
I know. I slid over a seat. Sometimes I'm in your seat.
I love that.
And you will rock and roll.
Yeah, we'll see.
However, we do have a filing in the house. So
Yes.
we are speaking today with Shannon Filing, Travis's much better half.
Well, thank you.
And you're welcome. And you brought along a friend named Sam or something.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a system named Sam or something like that,
sure
right? So
do.
we're going to talk to you about that today.
Love it.
Welcome. How was your day?
It was busy. But
Busy,
good.
busy. Yeah, we all
Yeah, it was
three,
good.
all
It was a great
four.
Monday.
David, were you busy? David was busy. We were all busy.
Mhm.
He works in a law firm. He's busy.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, Shannon, what is SAM first off? Just
Yeah.
real quick. I know we'll go deeper, but
Okay. So SAM it stands for Smart Automated Marketing. However, it's a full software system that can run a small business. Everything
So like
from marketing,
CRM,
CRM,
bookkeeping?
lead nurturing. It will integrate with QuickBooks, all of the things that you would
Wow,
want your
nice.
software to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been a business owner 24 years, right?
I know. Isn't that
And I
crazy?
know way back when you worked for me
Crazy.
when you were in high school and
Yeah.
I was 10. Um,
Me too.
way years over you. So what does that journey look like with 24 years in business? It's just been smooth and simple, hasn't it? I love it.
I don't know what people complain about, quite honestly.
Yeah.
No.
Like what I know you were in banking, right?
Yeah, I
And then-
did 10 years in banking.
Okay.
And then slid over into this really unintentionally because Travis worked in media.
Yeah.
And he was doing quite well. And we had 2 small kids. And they're like, he goes, I think you could help me be more successful with your skills. He doesn't like the detail stuff, which is ironic because he does all the detail stuff here. But I said, yeah, I could do that. So we did that. And I really loved elements of it. And he goes, I have a client that needs media placed in 6 states. I'm like, oh, I don't know. But he's kind of the one that's like, you can do it and shoves you out there. He's very good for stretching my comfort zone.
Okay.
And so then that's kind of how it started. And I'm like, I really like this. I had a first quarter and a fourth quarter client. I needed to fill the middle. And then it just kind of kept growing. So
From
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I
And
love
knowing
that.
you and Travis for over 2 decades.
Yeah, right.
You seem like you would be the organized one. Keep things
Yes.
kind of
That's very fair
I mean, just
statement,
knowing
yeah.
Travis.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But I think, when you look at business, you need the person that dreams really, really big.
Mhm.
And then you need the detailed people. You need all those sorts of people. And he's very strategic. And that's pretty cool. I'm the detailed person, but now we have April and she is way more a detailed person than me. So we've got layers of needed people.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is nice. I bet you're a very outgoing person though.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so, if you look at like personality colors and stuff, you're probably kind of an orangey red, like out there going, but you're also very organized. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of orangey red. That's kind of like CEO type thing. 3 decisions, you can make a decision, but I'm also it's sanguine in some cases but anyway, where I'm like, where's my bag? Where's my whatever,
Yeah.
How you
That's
doing?
always
What's
me,
your
finding
name? I
my
recognize
phone.
you, but can't remember,
Yes.
And so I need that finish line person,
Yeah.
which is really cool. You and Travis do that very well, though.
Yeah. It's so funny because I have friends that are like, I could never work with my spouse. And I said, you can. I think you just need to identify where you really excel, but you want to do that in your business anyway. You want to identify the people that have strengths in this area and let them play in those areas of strength.
Mhm.
And Travis and I have done that just by default. So we don't argue, you
Yeah.
stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine. And we respect what each other brings to the table. So
Sure.
it's ideal.
That's
really.
important, especially in this. When it's tougher and tougher to find good employees
Right.
anymore, you can't focus on their weaknesses.
No.
You just can't. You got to
Right.
focus on their strengths, and you can work yourself through those weaknesses.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think at the pace that things happen, or just maybe even people not being very aware, they just need to take the time. Everyone has strengths. And I'm not saying everyone's a perfect fit for every company. That's not true. But if we can identify strengths, they're just going to do better. They're going to feel better. They're going to do better. And you're going to grow your strengths at a more rapid rate than you will ever your weaknesses.
Yeah.
So.
It's so cool that we do that now. I remember in the 80s and 90s when I was first in business, it was always like, you need to strengthen your weaknesses. That's the thing. Work, work, and it's like, I'm never going to come up with 4 when you do 2 + 2. Just not. You can teach me and make me struggle, whatever. I mean, I'm being very generalized, and now it's just totally different where it's like, no, just expand on your strengths. That's where it's at for you and get better.
What a breath of fresh air when we can do that, because all we do is beat our head against the wall. Like Travis is really, really good at numbers. I mean, if we're doing something and I'm putting it in a calculator, he's like, you done yet? Because he's already figured it out in his head. I'm jealous of that skill set. I don't have that, but I have other things. So it just makes us not feel like a failure when we know we all have strengths to bring to the table.
So you have transformation marketing now, and you came from banking with that.
Yes.
So did you go to college? I don't remember.
I did.
Okay.
For a little bit.
That's okay. Me too.
For a little bit.
Yeah. And then paid that off and went, why'd I do that for a little bit?
Yeah. Right.
But anyway, I learned a lot. It's always a great experience, right? Everything you learn. Prior to that, I know you worked at my flower shop for a while, and then you went to college. And were you working at the bank when you were in college?
When I came back.
When you came back.
When I
where'd
came
you go to
back?
college?
Colorado Christian University in Colorado.
Yeah. Did you meet him in Colorado?
Yeah.
He was a pilot there.
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Let's get into this a little bit.
Okay. It was at a wedding. I do know that.
Well, the second time, the first time I met him when I went out there to college, he hated me. And I don't really blame him. I was making some really questionable decisions on who I dated. I think he was just jealous he wanted to date me, but it took him 4 years. We got reintroduced at a wedding, and it's just been fine since.
Great.
I knew at that moment that I had met him that second time. It was just we both knew.
All right. So out of college, you went into the bank.
Yeah.
Into banking. Okay. And after 10 years, you're kind of like something a little bit. Well, then you were with Travis, and he's always somebody that's like he touches something and it usually turns to gold. It does really well, I think. He's pretty good at getting
figure it out person.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah. He'll make things happen.
Right.
He's a hustler at heart. I mean, that's just that's
your stories align a lot.
Absolutely.
The ones we've shared over the years. But
you look for opportunities and you seize those opportunities, and he's not afraid to go get it.
No, he's
not at all.
No.
Yeah.
That's why I've always respected him. At one point in time, so I owned an advertising agency for 24 years.
Yes.
And toward the end, Travis and I became competitors, but we really weren't. I mean, we kind of stayed in our own lane, but I respected him for doing what he was doing. And I thought it was really cool to see him come into it.
But, and I will say that, I love that you said that, because I did collaborate with some projects for you. And I think right now we're in an area of business too, that when you want to see collaboration, all the better. And we're seeing more and more of that. Like, we weren't really competitors. We were in the same space, and we're seeing a lot more people sharing that same space and respecting each other in that space.
I see it every day at the bank.
Yep.
Where we're collaborating with other banks. It's amazing. And because I go back to, my day in the field, I had at one point 20 people.
Yeah.
And I mean, so we were scraping at everything, and
oh
no, how dare they come after this and that type of stuff. But
sure.
I think you're right. We're seeing more and more of that. And I think it makes for a more beautiful workplace.
And I still get territorial. I want to keep
sure.
But...
Well, my favorite thing in real estate was we were in a meeting one time and somebody came up and it was a ninja class. We were all studying to become better realtors, basically, with the system that works great. But anyway, one of the realtors was like, she goes, well, I'm not going to give away my secret, but I buy boxes that they put my face and my name and number on it. We're all sitting there going, Siri, oh, yeah, from the company in Kansas City. Boom, here you go. It was kind of funny where you protect things that are like, it's out there. And I mean, anymore, ChatGPT has it all, but it's just kind of funny. But that collaboration is always great. And it's better for everyone in the long run.
Well, we're going to talk about
I
that
respect
today.
Like for me right now, fellow realtors that collaborate, I respect a lot. And honestly, if I get into a multi-offer situation and it comes down to 2 and they're almost exactly right. I mean, it's like, I know I can work with, Todd really well because I know how he operates and the integrity and everything, and, can make a difference. Like being kind to the people you're in competition with is not a bad thing.
Oh, heck no.
Yeah.
No.
Cool. So why you named it Sam? Yeah, it has a reason. It's one of them acronyms, right?
And it's cute.
I love it. It's cute. Okay, I don't know. I probably wouldn't use it just because it's cute, but if it works,
it's good for something.
Tell me a little bit about Sam before we go to break. Right?
Yeah.
I want to hear a little bit about Sam. Is Travis going to be jealous?
Yeah, he is a little jealous. No, he's just glad I occupy my time. He doesn't really like to talk a lot of tech. Yeah. And I wouldn't say I'm a techie person, but yeah, the first time, new release of the iPhone comes out, all those things excite me. He could care less.
Yep.
I'm like, ooh, you got a new phone. Can I unwrap it? I get really excited about those things. And he does not really share that. So he's like, I love what you can do with the SAM system. He just doesn't want to learn it. And that's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Play to our strengths, right? Play to our strengths.
Well, this has been fun so far. It'll be a good show. We'll be back in just a little bit here. After the break, we're going to talk a little bit about businesses leaking revenue. Does that happen? I can't imagine. We're going to find out. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
Gary Tharnish.
Hey, welcome back to Inside Business. We had a great first segment, so glad you stuck with us. I'm Gary Tharnish, and my co-host today is Todd Calfee, which is great.
Travis is not in the house. Todd Calfee is.
Yeah, Travis
from Western National Bank. Thank you, and we're one of the sponsors. So I can say that.
That's right. You most certainly can. We love that bank. And our guest today is Travis's lovely wife, Shannon. And we're talking about your company, Transformation Marketing, but more specifically, we're talking about SAM. So we're going to kind of get that in there a little bit, which is a system that businesses can use and help a process and everything. So businesses are leaking revenue. So is that kind of what spurred designing SAM or?
No. So I specialize in working with small business. They have my heart. I'm a small business, and I know the pressures of running a small business. We have to oftentimes do everything. So when I was looking at that, and Todd, you can back me up on this. We have waves, right? People will be high advertisers and marketers. And then if you have an economy that changes, we're the first to go. It seems like, so the ebbs and flows of marketing is tough, but there's still a consistent need for business. And I have the pleasure. One of the things I love the most is I talk to business owners. I'm like, what's going on? Well, it's either personnel changes, or there's not enough time, or so-and-so left, or I can't get this done. I don't understand this, or my software, I don't have anything to put everything together. And it's like, okay, well, if marketing goes up and down, what is it consistent that they need? Because if we're going to grow small business, let's help them where they are. So that's why I brought SAM system in.
So you discovered a lot of pain points that small businesses were having.
Yeah.
Which is pretty common.
Yeah. And marketing touches that, because then when the need is great, they're like, okay, well, you do my marketing, but I'm not getting sales. Okay, well, let's talk about your sales process. Mm-hmm. That's really handover, but it's not really one and the same, but we're having those discussions. So what's happening with the sales process? Do you have one? How now can we automate it to make it efficient and effective? What do we want the customer's experience to be even? And we live right now in a time that software can help with that a lot. And so, when we talk about losing revenue, sometimes it's not about needing more leads. It's about nurturing the leads that you already have.
Yeah. Not following up, missing a lead, not connecting when you need to, not responding in a timely manner. I mean, in real estate, they always say if your client is calling you with a question, you've blown it. Like, you need to be on top of it. So you're assuming any question they might have. Right. Our software helps with that quite a bit, which is great. So your software system essentially can fill in those gaps. And I mean, we all ran our own small business, and you know what that's like. I mean, you're doing the HR, the whole ball of wax. It's easy to miss all the detail. I mean, for me, my sales process was the phone rang, I took the order, I made it, I gave it to the delivery driver and sent it out. Mm-hmm. So if you would have asked me, what's your process? I'd be like, well, that's really simple, but there's so much more to that process. So many more things that happen.
Again, in small business, there's so many things that you just don't think about, like getting that invoice out immediately so you can be paid. Mm-hmm. How do you get that done when you're doing, like you were talking about, Gary, you're doing everything from start to finish. And sometimes though, that's one of the most important, which affects your cash flow. And it's not there because it's not a process. So I'm learning. Yeah. I want to hear more about SAM and how SAM's going to handle this. Quick story. I went in 2018. I was asked to consult for a company in the Colorado area. It was in fuel and oil. And so they asked me after 30 days of consulting if I thought the company was viable. I said, absolutely. Well, what I did throughout that 30-day period is I got a hold of other fuel, or I attempted to get a hold of other fuel and oil companies, and absolutely hardly got any response whatsoever. I said, you will do well in this marketplace in the greater Denver area, if you have good customer service. And to this day, they're blown up because they have great, somebody picks up the phone, they call, they're talking to somebody. Yeah. There's none of this.
Well, and this happens a lot in the trades and service industries. So I had a client who is a plumber, and I said, call all your competitors. She goes, they don't answer the phone. They don't even answer the phone. And when we look at this going, I pull stats because I find them fascinating, is less than 27% of leads are ever contacted. That's a waste that you paid for.
That's shocking.
By time or reputation or marketing dollars. And 78% of customers buy from the first that responds. It probably depends on your product or your service. But if I have a leaky faucet and the plumber doesn't answer, you're calling down a list.
Oh, absolutely.
So, when we look at this going, one of the things that Sam's system does that's powered by Go High Level is missed call text back. Well, a lot of these operators are in the field, they're installing a lot of times and they're still answering the phone. I can't imagine trying to do that and keep the details in my head as I'm installing a water heater. But if you could do the missed call text back where it immediately bounces back, AI can ask them some questions. Now you have data to call them back, better equipped, and they are less apt to jump from your sales funnel if they are at least responded to.
Yeah, you haven't left them hanging.
And someone's like, well, I think they would much prefer a phone call. Well, they would prefer a response as opposed to zero. Yeah. So we're not stepping on that. But yeah, there's a lot of tech assistance that can happen now.
Well, I would agree with that. I mean, I ask all my clients, how do you want to be contacted first when we need to get in touch? We're going to have a group text, group email, whatever. I can conference call on the phone. I don't care what age it is either. It's not that demographic. Everybody, it's rare. I maybe have had one or two that said, oh, email me first. It's always text. Mm-hmm. So for me, if I call somebody, and I would love to not get stuck in the phone tree thing. I hate those. Yeah. Press this, press that. And I forget half of them because I'm squirreling all the time. And that drives me crazy. But yeah, a text back for me would be great. I'd wait a little bit. I'd be like, oh yeah, it makes sense. They're a plumber. They're probably busy here.
Yeah. And I think sometimes part of my role is, number one, just asking the questions, because maybe your preference isn't a text, but it doesn't mean all your customers don't have that preference. So not putting, everything on hold because that's your preference. I was talking to a tow truck driver the other day, and he's a new client, and he goes, if they don't call me, I said, Scott, I appreciate that you would rather a phone call, but a lot of people are fine with a text. And he I said, you need to check your text and your email. They come in different fashions, for their preference, not your preference.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, the other thing about the text right away, so basically they get the answer machine. It's because I can't answer the phone because I'm doing whatever. And then it just texts them right away. Right. So, to me, that erases that only 27% of get contacted back. Yeah. You're now at 100% follow-up. It may not be what you think is the best or whatever, but at least there's been, I'd wait.
Well, and what if
they send me a text? That's
what
nice.
If you lose that project? You still gain them in your database. Now you can market to them.
Sure.
From then until they block you.
Yeah.
I just sit here and go, there's definitely efficiencies. So I'm going to tell a story. I was talking to now a new client, which is quite awesome because he had 4 different tech pieces. So if he had missed call text back, that was a different service. It did not go into a CRM. So he had those leads hanging out over in this little stratosphere. He had no emails in his database because it only took incoming phone calls, but only the data that he answered that he remembered to write down. Then he never put it in the CRM. Nothing talked to one another. He had a whole different system that tracked his delivery trucks. It's just, I said, this needs to be rectified. You're chasing things all over. The efficiencies that you're missing when tech can be put into place. The ironic thing is Sam's system is built on Go High Level. We support it and build it out. Just like if you have a website, it's built on WordPress. There's an underlying software. He goes, well, I have that. I just don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, goodness, let's just fix that,
Right. Yeah. I was looking the other day, just apps on my phone. I've got it. Never used it.
Yeah.
Don't even know how to use it. It's like crazy, how that is.
And a lot of times when you go to use that app, there's a bubble by it because it's got to be downloaded. It was there at one point in time.
Yeah. It's been neglected.
Well, and recently somebody was telling me, email's just so outdated. Nobody looks at their email. So when I sold the flower shop, I had like 4,900 emails, and I knew that I always told my customers, we'll only email you if there's a question about your flowers or whatever. And then on holidays, we just give you a message if you'd like, but you can opt out of that. So when I went in real estate, they're like, well, and I'm like, well, I started to send a general letter. Hey, you can opt out right now, but I'm becoming a realtor. And I went from like 4,900 to 2,200 something. And the open rate is like 19%, which is people say is incredible. But even people on my team are like, oh, nobody reads our email. And I just met with a guy Sunday and have a listing because he was our postal guy. We were always just really nice. If it was cold, like come in and have a hot chocolate or whatever. But we had his email because he'd, place orders and stuff. And he's been getting that newsletter for 5 years and went, hey, so, I mean, it's that automation. I mean, it happens all the time and I don't think about it, but it pays off.
Yes, it does. Consistency always pays off.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You never know when the time's going to be right or the message lands at the exact right time. That's why consistency will always be your advocate.
Yeah, definitely. I remember a radio advertiser talking me out of spending a whole bunch of money for Valentine's Day and just saying, hey, instead, let's do it for the whole year. It's going to be much less, but you'll be consistent. And I kind of built off of that model. It was Jeff Dostal who worked here, and I built off that model and learned so much from marketing about him. And it really made a ton of difference. I would have spent that much money for the holiday. Well, that didn't really work. Nobody listens to the radio, they don't, whatever. And instead having something very, very consistent over time just paid off great. Cause then people feel like they know you.
Sure. Right. Absolutely.
Well, we're going to have to head to a break. This has been fun learning all about Sam. And anyway, you're listening to Inside Business. Gary Tharnish helped me out today. My co-host is Todd Calfee.
Yes.
Welcome. And we're speaking with Shannon and we'll be right back.
Filing and Gary Tharnish.
Welcome back to Inside Business. Thanks for sticking with us. And if you just joined, stick with us for the end of the show. It's going to be great. We're a business show. I'm Gary Tharnish. My co-host today is Todd Calfee, filling in for Travis Filing. And then Travis's much better half, Shannon, is here.
I love coming here.
You should. You should.
We love you.
We would just want to point, poke at Travis.
Yeah, I know.
I love it.
We camp with you.
And he listens. He listens too.
There you go.
So.
That's okay. Hi, Travis. Anyway, so Shannon owns Transformation Marketing, and you've built a system called SAM, which we've been talking about, which is pretty amazing. And anyway, this segment is called 5 Takeaways. And one of the things that we'd like to do in this, well, for sure, we want to have 5 takeaways, but what's a takeaway? It's advice that you can give to our listeners that they can take right away and somehow use in their business. And so, what would be the first advice you would want to give somebody?
Yeah. So speed to the lead wins in most cases, right? Responsiveness, really. So what that responsive tolerance looks like in your industry, you have to determine. But like I mentioned in the trades and services, speed is good. Like you want to be responsive. So we use the example of the plumber, but most anything right now, we are an instant access society.
Yep.
so speed is definitely something that we desire, and we're really intolerant when we don't have that responsiveness.
Well,
we get impatient.
Pretty much taught. I mean, my kids at one point, I'm just going to take your cell phone away. You're 16. Listen, if I don't respond in 5 seconds, I'm not dead.
Oh, yes.
Right, it's going to be a while.
But they expect that.
Well, Dad, are you there?
Yeah.
Dad, did you see it? And I'm in a meeting and my phone's going, and I mean,
I mentioned it before, like 78% buy from those that are first to respond. So if you think about that, if you could just hone in that one thing, like we can't do all things to a level 10, but if that's what you pick and you're like, okay, I'm going to win with speed, then how can I do that? If that would improve my game 78%,
no kidding.
Right? That there could be a game changer for small business, and software and technology is going to be your friend in that space.
Well, and I think a lot of that too, you're saying it's 78%, but there's probably a lot of people that just don't get back to people, period.
Yeah. There is a stat on that too. They just don't get back.
They just don't get back. So, I mean, 78%, even if half of those people choose your service, I mean, look what you've gained.
And on top of that, Todd, what's interesting, and I did this several years back before tech was in my world, or the CRM was in my world, is it was specifically for a bank, and we communicate on our chosen channels. So that could be a direct message from Facebook or an Insta DM, or, we desire text or a web chat or whatever it is. Now, where do you compile all that? I feel like digitally gaslit when I'm like, I swear I read that somewhere. Yeah. And it was like a text or it was an email or was it a call or, that sort of thing. Well, Sam's system will put all of that in one place called conversations. So now if your particular industry or your clientele will message you on Facebook, you don't have to worry about, that was a Facebook channel. Now I have my email channel. I have my phone channel. It's all in one place.
And seamless.
It's
That's
seamless.
What's beautiful about that.
And you get record of everything. So when you go back and go, what happened? Oh, this chronologically happened.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful because
nice.
speed is going to be important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big number, like 78. What was it?
Right.
78%?
78%.
Man.
Yeah. And I think that was from Lead Connect. But I sit here and go, if you pick one thing, and we're going to talk about 5 takeaways, but that's one thing that could be a game changer if that's what you adhere to and make that a 2026 goal. And then you can go on to something different in 2027.
Yeah. And with CRM systems, I will tell you, I've used multiple
Mhm.
over the years, and they all have one or two things that maybe that you really like,
Yeah.
but they don't have them all.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one that I really liked because if they're in your contact, you could see that I called them because they're in my contact. It said how long you talked to them.
Yeah.
That was one great feature,
Yeah.
but there were a ton of others that were horrible.
Yeah.
You know, so then you go to another one
Yeah.
and you like this part of it. And it's hard to find that perfect one. It sounds like Sam might have something going on that we didn't know about.
I was very, very impressed because I too have used several CRM systems. I have clients that use several CRM systems, and I was impressed with everything in one place. It's also being developed all the time, so it's moving, and you can pick and choose and customize it. So I have one client that it's very important to them to have their calls recorded and transcribed. It does it right there. So then they don't have to have yet another piece of software to do that.
Yeah,
and I
amazing.
do have some industries, if you are in the Medicare industry, you have to have your calls recorded. So now the system will achieve that. So there's just even different nuances between industries and what is required.
You get that little
Sure.
annoying thing that says, this conversation may be recorded.
You can opt to do that or not do that.
Oh,
so I have a client.
I just wondered because
Yeah.
most of my call, and I always go, am I really being recorded? Or are
It's
they
called
just
a
saying
whisper answer if you don't have it. And it depends on your state. But
Oh.
in Nebraska, you don't have to announce it because you're privy as part of the conversation. So it's kind of interesting to learn all these things. But if that is a need and a desire for you and your industry, we have it.
That is nice because I have AI attached to my Zoom calls, which I do a lot. Like all my
Yeah.
out of town clients are Zoom calls.
Yeah.
And I love that in the end, it gives me a summary report. This is what you said you would
Yeah.
do. This is what
Yeah.
you're expecting from them. And they said they would do. It's just really great. Got to have that kind of seamless through
Right.
phone calls,
Yeah.
texts, everything would be great.
Because it's usually not our intention to fail. You know, it's not our intention to not follow up. It's not our intention to do that. It's just time constraints. So
what's another takeaway?
number 2, I have consistency. We talked about that a little bit earlier. I think it's fine to mention it again. 80% of sales require at least 5 follow-ups, and they usually only get 1. And I was talking to one of my networking groups, and one of the guys in there, he's like, I said, well, you dated, right? Before you got married. And he's like, not really. This is just my first girlfriend. I married her. I'm like, well, you're in sales, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, it's the same thing. You sit there and go, gosh, should I call him back? Is it too soon? Did I leave enough time? Do they want to hear from me? You know, you kind of go through this whole thing, but that's why I get a little comforted by numbers that no, they want that follow-up. Their intent is to answer you. Their intent is to give you an answer. I will use Gary as an example. So my very first job, I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if I wore you down and just earned the job.
Oh, you used to work for me?
Yeah.
We're getting older, Gary.
I know.
Seasoned. The word seasoned.
I
There you go.
know.
We're marinating according to my daughter, but I use the word seasoned.
Aged
that.
well, I guess. I don't know. I had a friend, Jody, that worked before me.
Oh yeah.
For Gary. And I kept going, I called him like 3 times. Am I going to annoy him? And she goes, no, you need to call him a whole bunch. He just forgets. And working with Gary,
great.
it's so true. But it was my first lesson. I didn't realize what I was learning in the moment is perseverance did gain me that job. And it was literally one of my most favorite jobs ever. So it's okay. And like Travis says, he goes, I mean, if I had bothered them enough to the point that they say no, then at least I got my answer and I'll move on.
I was just going to go there. What I used to tell our salespeople is, what's the worst thing that can happen? They can say no.
Right.
Yeah.
Big
Don't
deal.
imagine a no before they say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no's no, or whatever.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and contacting back a lead, you already know that, if you're selling pens, you already know they want one.
Mhm.
They need one.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is you sell or do, it's
Yeah.
just the matter of getting back to them. And like for me with real estate, it's a big transaction. And people, I mean, I do get a ton of referrals for real estate. And I do get a lot of like my next transactions embedded in this transaction because somebody will be, how do you like your home? Who helped you? But generally speaking, it's surprising how many people, on average, people know 6 to 7 realtors
Yeah.
on average. it's amazing how many times they never use those 6 or 7 because they don't want to be in a group somewhere and 3 of them are there and go, oh, I just used that one.
Yeah.
Instead, they're like, oh yeah, I know. I just did a search and this realtor
Banks
popped
are
up
no
and I
different.
used them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could. Yeah,
Banks
for sure.
are no different.
Yeah.
Marketers, what I have found in marketing anyway, is they've had a good experience and they need something different or more, or they've had a really bad experience.
Yep.
And you have to hold their hand through it. You do the grieving stage. You know, I'm sorry you were mistreated or you had marketing malpractice handled to you or whatever you want to coin it as. But they've had a bad experience for some reason.
I think usually that reason is expectations were not set and met, right? So one person's thinking this is going to be my return, you know, and it wasn't set out that like what Jeff did to me, where he's like, you know, you can spend 10,000 on this holiday when people already order anyway, but why not extend that out the whole, you know, instead of me going, I'm going to see if it works.
Well, I have a brand new client as of
throwing
Friday.
darts. We just call it throwing darts.
Yeah,
there you go. Yep.
Well, I have a new client as of Friday, and they said, well, we signed in. I prepaid 6 months of marketing. This was an SEO project, and I didn't hear from him until they wanted to re-up their contract. And I'm like, that's sad.
Yeah,
that's sad. She had nothing, no guidance as to what I'm doing. They bought, you know, she bought your expertise. Be the expert she needs you to be. Yeah. And she's a lovely person to talk to. I would love to.
Yeah. Be her friend.
Well, yeah. And like in my experience, right? So that salesperson led me. So many times we need to be led, right? I mean, in real estate, a lot of times it's like, I need to lead people through this process. And I always tell them, I'm going to control this process. I'll lead you through it. You control every decision.
Yes.
You know, but I mean, how easy would it have been for Jeff to go, yeah, I'll take your 10,000 good commission this month. Well, but he would have led me to I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I fly a plane, I hope to God they're leading the plane, right? Like I'll get on. But yeah, you do want someone to take control in the realm that they have that expertise. So
yeah. So what's another takeaway?
Number 3, I have automate the repetitive. So this comes down to planning. Like, what are you answering time and time again? Travis did this years ago with a client that we still have today called Gas Pump Heaven, and they sell.
Wait.
Gas Pump Heaven?
Yeah, they sell parts to help you
up
restore old gas pumps. Super cool. So how many do we own? Probably 10.
Yeah.
10 gas pumps. But yeah, he really dives in head first on him.
Didn't he just go buy one?
Oh yeah, we got a double one and a single one.
Very nice.
They explode.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Travis keep buying.
Yeah. He goes,
pumps.
He keeps asking, you know, what keeps ringing the phone? They're like, well, they don't know how to install this. He goes, I'll do a video on it. These videos are still watched, and it's probably been 10 years later.
Because they're evergreen.
They're evergreen because they still have the same question. So it reduced their phone time answering the same question over and over. Or we think about sales, like when you say anticipate what they need to know, they shouldn't ask you a question. You should anticipate it as best you can, right?
Yeah.
So how do we do that with that education process? Well, if I can answer the most common questions up front, the sales process goes smoother. Right? You're leading them through that whole sales process. You are already addressing what might be questions, might be negatives, might be setbacks, and you address them early. And then when it comes to are they going to buy, just is a natural flow. So you can do that now with automations a lot of times.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I mean, like, you know, like in my situation, a certain part of the transaction, you're in a certain phase and things need to be sent out. And, you know, I'm calling to try to go over that and stay on top of it with, 13 different, it's just a lot. And it would be great to automate it. But I'm like, it's kind of hard to automate it too. But it's so important to do, right? Because you want to catch them ahead of time, right? And I want to be memorable. I don't want them, having to call me when they have a question.
But automate ourselves then too.
Yeah.
So I have another new client that she's like, part of this process can be automated because it needs to have things communicated to them, probably in writing. And then she goes, but I need to do certain things. I'm like, okay, well, when this happens and this date happens 2 weeks out from your event, I'm going to automate a task to you to remind you to do this one thing.
That's beautiful.
And she goes,
no kidding.
Yeah,
exactly.
I could be automated too. I'm like, yes, Amy, I'll automate you too.
Yeah.
And so everything goes seamlessly. And when we create that experience and we could just replicate it, all the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you can set that up for people, Shannon, that's huge. Because I'm still to this day, I'm a Franklin Planner guy. I write everything
Travis
down.
had one of those. Yeah.
But there's times where you go, I forgot.
Yeah.
If somebody would have reminded me, or it's on me because I'm the one. But yeah, and again, there's all those different ways you can do it. You can set reminders. You can put it in your calendar. You can have it go off 15 minutes beforehand. And to have one.
So you're describing a human.
Yes.
Humans.
Right. We're all human.
Yeah,
We're all
yes.
messy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Reminders
exactly
are a
it.
good thing. That's a really neat tool. This is sounding more and more totally comprehensive the further we get. I thought I was going to be like challenging on some things here, but so far, like all these things are looking over at Todd. He's like, well, smiling, like, we're gonna have that too. It's just kind of great. And automate the repetitive. That is such a great takeaway because there are so many things we do all the time that are repetitive. I'm sure there is in banking and marketing and real estate and law, just so many things that could just be automated.
And then that frees our time up to do the really good things, the meaningful interactions, right? Get all the other stuff that can be put in writing. And then that allows you to explore in your conversation time more important things.
Yeah.
More business often.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's an opportunity for you to, we'll call it what it is. It's upselling.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's talk about these other things that we can do because now you have free time to do these other things and get a hold of your customers or
just make them feel good about what they're doing. Even.
And now you have, the sky's the limit.
Yeah,
when I think about it. Yeah.
Well, my number 4 is missed call equals lost revenue. So I have a stat for that as well. 85% of people whose calls aren't answered will never call back. So,
Okay, say that again. So I call a plumber, I get no response.
They just won't call you back. And guess what? This day and age, they'll tell people, don't call them. They don't answer the phone.
Oh,
They'll never get back to you. Right. Those things happen, or they'll light you up on reviews, whatever it may be. But missed calls equals lost revenue. If you paid money, maybe it's marketing dollars, maybe you've networked for it, maybe it's your reputation, maybe someone gave you a lead, whatever it is, if you've paid money in some form or fashion and don't answer that call or get back to them or text them back.
Yeah.
It's lost revenue. It's lost opportunity. Even if it's not a spend now, it could be a spend later.
Yeah. I've really changed my thinking on, which is funny because I've been in networking groups since, I don't know, Eve ate the apple, seems like. But I'm guessing I'm not that old. Guess I'm not that old. But anyway, it seems like forever. But it's just like recently, it's kind of sad that recently in the last 6 months where I've really been searching, going, when I give a referral or someone gives a referral to me, I am treating that like gold now because now you give me a referral, Shannon, and now I'm not just representing myself. I'm representing you. You trusted me with 100%. That referral, and it's huge, and it's important to not follow through on that, and also to be able to do. Again, I'm human. I know that's shocking to people. I kind of look like a robot sometimes, which never really. That's not true. But anyway, it is so easy to make a mistake once in a while, and owning that also is absolutely huge. Just call you up and hey, Shannon, you gave me that lead. I called them. They left me a message. I just realized I hadn't called them back. Those things are so important in referral business. And for me, in my business, we refer tons of the tradespeople, right? A painter, somebody inspecting the sewer, carpenter, everything. And you just never know if they're not calling back, it just reflects on you.
Yeah. Right.
It's tough.
My number 5 is system scale, but people don't. So, I don't know. Travis and I kind of come from the mind that no one's going to outwork us. We work all the time. We work all the time, but there's still only so many hours in the day, right? So how do we scale our business, scale our efforts, scale our intentions? And using automation increases, 14.5% in sales productivity and 30% reduction in repetitive tasks. So when we can automate the things that we can automate, those scale. So it's not a matter of necessarily I have to hire 100 more people and take that on, or I have to invest in maybe more equipment or whatever it may be. Maybe it's just having automations or a system in place. Systemizing can just do so much. You said that you once employed 20 people. The most people that I have employed was 16.
Yep.
I have 6 right now, and I'm more efficient now.
Mine was the highest was 29, but when I got down to my last years and we had like 5 of us, we were the most profitable actually. But we'd also found our niche, really worked those last 10 years. So it made a difference. But that's true. There's so many things to that, right? It's like scaling is tough. I know a business right now that is just scaling way too fast. It just breaks my heart because the owner is everything right when it comes to spirit in who he is, integrity, honesty, all of that. But it's scaling so fast, and it's hard for him to let go of things that need to be done by someone else. And automation alone could help immensely with that. But when you're not able to give up, I mean, there's just a lot involved with that. And I've never really thought about automation as being another employee, so to speak, but kind of in a way, that's how my mind would work.
Well, but it totally
if I think of it, if I think of it as another employee, then I got it, but
before people write into the show and say, well, people need jobs. Of course they need jobs. But if you're an employer, sometimes having access to the people that you need is a challenge. So it's not necessarily that, but what happens if we free the people up to do the people things and we let the tech do the tech things? That's a huge breath of fresh air. Or the one that's scaling so quickly. It's like, what if he has automations on the first part of the day is, hey, here's your executive report. Now you make the decisions. He's not chasing those with 5 different meetings. He gets a dashboard that tells him what he needs to know so he can act quick and make decisions quicker.
Right. Or employees that, people working with him that can enter data that ends up on that report for him. So he knows, okay, these people need this much lumber today. Got to make sure that the tiles are this house, all these different things that can be great is wonderful.
Right.
I'm really using Chat GPT a lot. I'm having to go through my broker for all of it because it's like we have to be really careful because if there's ever a suit on a house, which never ever happens, right? They subpoena everything. So it's like, you want to be careful, but it has helped me immensely.
And we'll talk about Chat GPT and my experience with that after the break.
Can't wait.
Yeah. There's this has been 5 takeaways. Great. Yes. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with what does Sam's system do differently? You're listening to Inside Business. Gary Tharnish, Todd Calfee filling in for Travis today, and we are interviewing Shannon. We'll be right back.
With Travis Filing and Gary Tharnish.
Hey, welcome back. Gary Tharnish here. Filling in today for Travis is Todd Calfee, and we're interviewing Travis's lovely wife, Shannon. And we promised before the break that we'd have a little story from Todd that he wants to talk about. Is it refer to Chat GPT? We're kind of in the middle of a lot of stuff.
Totally got to do with this Chat GPT.
You didn't name her. You can name her.
Oh, I need to name her something. We've learned to get along. But
nice.
So I like to write. And so when it comes to radio spots or whatever I'm writing, even if it's an email, I want it to be, me.
Yeah.
So Cecilia Stryler, my work wife at the bank, who's obviously much, much younger than me.
She's awesome.
She's awesome.
So Cecilia is not your Chat GPT name. That's a person.
No, that's actually
okay. I just wanted to clarify. Okay. Yeah, I'm on board again.
She's a doll. But I need to go write. I need, to spend like 4 hours to write this or whatever because I want to write. And she goes, why? And I go, because I need to write this and I like to write. Well, if you did it in Chat GPT, I go, no. I'm not doing that. It's not going to be personal. Well, what are you focusing on this? And I just give me time. So I sat and I wrote. It was good. Yeah, I mean, I really liked it. It was our brand. It had our personality, everything. And so she said, well, tell me what you wrote about. And I am not lying to you. 2 minutes later, she basically handed me the script that was almost identical to me.
Really?
And I go,
were you unsettled?
I was so mad. I literally was mad. I go, this is not right. I go, what's this taking from? I mean,
from our industry.
From our industry. I go, I was in the business and, to write scripts. I mean, there's times we spent weeks, if not months, to get our big customers what they wanted. It can be done literally in minutes.
Or seconds.
It's
it's shocking.
Yeah.
It's scary. Now all of a sudden, Chat GPT is my friend.
Yeah.
Even, and I don't know if you've noticed this when you draft an email. I'm a slow learner. Okay, I used to be on top, but not anymore. So I would go to write an email, and there's a little button that says rewrite or something. I go, now on email. Okay, let me just do that, and I go,
I cleaned it up.
Oh my
nicely.
God, I sound smart. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, replace. But I use it all the time now.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's just the tip of the iceberg for what Sam's doing.
Well, we integrate in AI.
Yeah.
And I saw the writing on the wall, and our marketers are going to go away. No. But when you look at small business, there is not a day that goes by that I haven't heard somebody say 100 times, literally going, oh, I use chat. I talk to chat. I love, or whatever it is. So I'm sitting there going, well, if I'm going to help small businesses grow in a meaningful way, how can we do this? it's not a matter of going, well, Chad, I can do it better. It's not that. Sometimes it's a great launching pad for ideas to then springboard.
I've heard about that.
Have it be, this isn't really about chat so much, but have it be your adversary. Like play the devil's advocate to this idea. Help challenge me on that, because a lot of times we don't have the sounding boards that we need to have. And I'm not saying she's perfect, and I don't know why she's always a she, but I don't know why.
Oh, mine is less. So it's
you got less.
Okay.
I'm like,
Does that
less.
worry you at all, though, Shannon? I mean, are we going to lose our brain capacity? I mean, because I used to like to think. Now I don't even have. I really don't have to think. All I have to do is explain.
So here's what applicable way. I spent some time down at UNL judging like a pitch competition. It had a name just Friday. Yeah. I'll tell you, brilliant kids down there. They have their stuff in a group. I did not at that age, so I leave so impressed. One of them, she's a senior, she's a TA, and she works at Huddle. And part of their review is, how are you using Claude? It's an expectation, because if they can code a segment that will do what they need to do, they're expected to do that. So their engineers aren't doing it all.
Okay. So
it's interesting.
Help me with this. Who in the hell is Claude?
Claude's GPT's competition.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just
great.
different. It's
You'll
just
like
different
Claude
chat.
too.
I would like Claude.
And you put them in different. You have Gemini, you have Claude, you have chat, and they do bring out information in a different style and way. So for you, if you're writing a script, put your prompts in all three, and they are going to have a different take and style on how they write that script.
Wow.
It's very cool. Very cool.
I think Claude is a little more businessy.
It is true.
In my mind, the results that I get.
It's true. I had heard, now I don't know this to be true, so somebody can fact check me and write into the show, but I thought that April told me that Claude got a defense contract with so I don't know how that's going to be, if it'll be buttoned up, more secure, it'll cost more. I don't know.
Okay. And again, I'm just, because you're here, so I'm going to be devil's advocate. Okay. So I read something on LinkedIn. It's a concern for me that I believe it's every 10 requests that you put into Chad or Claude or Fred or Joe or Susie or whatever they're called now, that each 10 of those requests requires 16 ounces of water to cool the systems.
Yes.
For doing that.
The energy that's taken. I mean,
so that concerns me, because I don't know if people realize, but water is a natural resource and we just don't make that. Yeah. So that's a concern.
I don't know about the water, but the energy it is taking. But you see that true with cryptocurrency, anything that's going to take data. And
again, I'm not, I mean, it is what it is, but I did read that and I found that fascinating, because I go, how many people, I mean, now that this whole chat and Claude and everything's going on, how many people are actually doing this, and how much water are we dumping to cool
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
I don't know about the water.
It's a very, very interesting article.
I'm just glad that Alex is an electrician. He's going to be needed for everything, but
make them, they're the next millionaires. Honestly.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Oh, it's fascinating. So it's a good read.
Fascinatingly scary in a way too. I get that. Though my son is in he's the CEO of a chocolate company, but he was in marketing forever. He worked with Red Bull and then Muscle Milk, produced commercials and stuff. So anyway, he's a big data guy. They buy millions and millions of dollars worth of data.
Yeah.
And however, at some point, it's like just too much data.
Yeah.
So the nice thing about ChatGPT, Claude, whatever that you use with that situation is that it can really analyze data quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you have all of us using it and it's going to take up natural resources, that's a whole nother story altogether.
Yeah.
I do think legislation will help with that, right? So Congress is looking at legislation to say, you big, like the one we have out here, there's some in Nebraska, they're all over, right? The data centers now, it's like the fastest growing anything.
Yeah.
And they're saying, okay, you have to be self-sufficient with your energy. You cannot come into a city and raise everybody's electric rates because you're using so much. That I think will temper it a little bit to a point where it's like, you can have so much data, it's useless.
Well,
at some point, you kind of wonder.
And I guess if we start to run out of water, we can ask Claude or one of those to how can we get more water?
Yeah. How do we?
I'm sorry.
I like the way you think. No, it's totally cool.
Yeah.
I totally
Claude,
get that. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, well, and honestly, I'm sure that they're already looking at that and how they will curb that. They'll make the machine so they don't have to be cooled as much. I don't know.
Well,
but the article that I read, I go, that's frightening.
That's interesting.
Well, in most, when you talk to futurists or listen to a futurist, which I love doing that, and documentaries about it and stuff, water will be what the next big wars are over.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to even
space.
state to state. I mean, Colorado,
Water
Nebraska,
space.
and Kansas are already fighting on the
Oh, yeah.
Republican and Big Blue. I mean, it's the next thing. So yeah, if they're taking up all that, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to go to a break here. So you're listening to Inside Business. Gary Tharnish, Todd Calfee filling in for Travis today, and we're talking to the lovely Shannon, which has been great. And in our next segment, we're going to talk about This Needs an Adjustment. We'll be right back.
Is Inside Business with Travis Filing and Gary Tharnish.
You are listening to Inside Business. I'm Gary Tharnish. Filling in for Travis today is Todd Calfee, and Shannon, Travis's much better half, is our guest today.
This
And
is costing me a lot.
Oh my God. It's so much nicer looking at you than Travis. Sorry, Travis.
I agree with that. And this segment's called This Needs an Adjustment, and it happens all the time in business, right? So I'm just wondering, was SAM kind of something when you created it that you thought we need something more? There needs to be an adjustment to what's happening and it's not working. Is that kind of a little bit of what spearheaded that? Or?
I want to know more about Sam.
Yeah.
So
I can even give you the top of the iceberg as to what it will do. But when I talk to small business and they're operating their business off of spreadsheets, if they're lucky, they aren't at all.
A lot of them are on paper and pencil.
100%. What happens when Susie leaves because she has to have a surgery and she's gone? Where's that consistency?
Right.
Huge.
If someone leaves and you have to train someone new, if you have a system doing all of this, now you just train the system. The system doesn't change, right? So people might change, but the system doesn't have to change, especially daily,
plug and play,
weekly. Yes. So if you orchestrate and you craft a system that works for you, it smooths everything out. So when I looked at CRM systems for me, and I looked at what small businesses could do, the first thing that came to me, because I told you this is powered by Go High Level, is the marketing side, automating a lot of that, right? So that's exciting because it has all the tools, bells and whistles right within the system, but also the sales process, because that leads right after marketing, right? Maybe even before marketing sometimes, because we forget that we do marketing after the sale as well. So that is consistent throughout. So nurturing those leads, making the sales process easier. We also have AI agents that will even call out and answer calls. So that's pretty cool.
That's freaky.
It is freaky.
By the way.
But you know what's interesting is you can go on YouTube and look at Tesla AI call.
I've heard it.
Right? And if you're transparent, don't fake it. But if you this particular call, and they've even become better, but it was like, "Hi, I'm so and so, Tesla's AI bot. You mind if we have a chat?" And he's like, "Yeah, I had questions on this." And you hear it all play out. And I played it for Travis, who's a big naysayer, and I said, "Well, what did you notice?" He goes, "Well, there's some odd pauses." I said, "Okay, there's a little bit different pause." He used the guy's name. He joked with the guy. This bot did all this. And I said, "What was the end, Travis? What was the end?" He goes, "He booked a demo ride."
Yeah.
I said, "He did it. The job got done."
Yeah. Right.
The job got done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the fact that, I mean, if I'm talking to a bot, I just want to know right away
that it's a bot.
Like if you announce that, "Hey, I'm a bot, I'm calling on behalf," or however you word it, so that I know I'm talking not to a human, because I hate that. When they do it and I don't know I'm talking to a human, I'm always like, "Hey, real quick question. Are you monogamous with just one algorithm, or do you like date a lot of them?" And it usually throws them totally off.
I bet that
because it just drives me nuts if I don't know.
There's a machine just
and
steaming.
Sometimes they're so good anymore, you kind of don't know. You'll catch those pauses. It's just like stuff we watch. You're talking about the fear of what's happening with human resources, and and with the environment, with all this data and how it has to be cooled, and all that stuff too. I'm also worrying about what's happening with all this AI and stuff also, where we don't know who's, like we're going to see Barack Obama selling MAGA hats, and looking like he's really doing it. That stuff's kind of scary to me. I want to know. So I love the fact that if it would start with, "Hello, I'm May, and I'm I'm an AI assistant for Gary, and do you have a question? I can refer to him, or maybe I'll be able to answer for you." That I could live with.
I bet more times people would leave impressed. like, oh my gosh, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And especially then if you follow up. So I have 2 clients, they bring their dogs to work just like I do. And so they're
Kinda
using
like the bank, Western National
Yes,
Bank.
that's
Yeah.
right. So
Winston.
they will use their dog. One of them's Lily, and she's a golden retriever, and that's going to be the chat bot. So on the website, the chat bot is Lily. So now you know it's not a person, right? And so you'll ask Lily all these questions. We're going to train Lily, the chat bot. And then it's like, oh, hold on. That's a question for my owner. I'll have him call you back, right? But what if you got 5 of your 6 questions answered efficiently online?
That'd be huge.
Like, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
because you may answer the 6th one after,
Right.
you
Right.
might figure it out.
But
Well-
if you've gotten 5 of your answers, it's like,
Yeah.
I'll let so-and-so call me back for the 6th. This was very
Yeah.
efficient with my time.
And plus, then when I call them back, it can be more relational building.
Right.
You know, like you've got your answers.
course.
Maybe now they have a second question or something developed
Yeah.
from the answers that they received. I love that part of it. It's huge.
And it equips
know-
us to answer their call with maybe having the answer to that 6th question at the ready.
Yeah, you've mentioned a few things online, a couple while we've been on break. And I just kind of want to bring this up a little bit. So like, I'm thinking when I had my previous business and was constantly, I mean, we manufactured everything we made. It was like, well, you worked there, you know what Azure
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And times where I'd think if somebody came to me with a new CRM word, I'd be like, when am I ever going to have the time to implement that?
Yeah.
Or I would buy stuff and never implement it. That's even worse. I would
Yes.
buy a system and never implement it.
Yes.
So you've mentioned a few things here that I think one thing I love about it isn't like you buy this, you get Sam and everything's ready to go. You can build it over time in baby
Yes.
steps. That would be
Yes.
huge for me to just know,
Yes.
okay, I want it to soak in a little bit what it's going to do for me and know that it's doing that so that somebody doesn't like this new, person that we're going to get in our CRM. I'm kind of like, that's fine that they're helping, I guess. I just want to know what they say.
Yeah. So we're
Right.
phasing out. I have a couple projects that I can speak to on that. One is a solopreneur, and she was paying, I don't even know, like $300 for a CRM, $400 for an email marketing, and I don't even know what else. I said, okay, what's going to, and then it didn't even do all that she needed to do. I said, we're going to phase this. So our very first step was we got she literally was paying this email marketing $400 a month to house 40,000 contacts that she wasn't even using, but she needed a place to store them because her CRM had a cap. I'm like,
Oh Lord.
that's $400 that you're just,
A month.
that's a storage unit for your data.
Yes.
Like, so we brought that
$4,800
over.
a year.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
we
hard
brought
drive.
that over.
Separate hard
Part
drive.
2
Yeah.
is we built every system she had on HubSpot and brought it into the CRM. So doing logical steps.
Okay.
Now she can learn along the way. And every time I talk to her, I'm so excited. I can't believe you built this in a week. She's not going to build it. She doesn't want to build it. She goes, I just don't want to
Right.
learn it that well.
Yeah.
I'll build it for you. Just tell me what you need and we'll put it in. We'll fine tune it together. The second one that I had was a whole franchise. I got to speak to the franchisor because a franchisee said, I've got this CRM system that's built on the same software that Sam is. And he goes, I don't know how to use it. He goes, let me pave the way to the franchisor. Like, right on. This is exciting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I talked to them and they're like, well, when we brought this into our portfolio, this is what it came with. We don't know how to use it. We understand it's really powerful, but we don't know how to use it. And it's
Happens
like,
all the time.
Yeah,
that's the
all the
thing.
time.
And
All
so
the
we
time.
built out a logical phase system that's a 4-part phase system because not only do I have to bring them through it, but I have to bring all their franchisees through it. So it's not necessarily the framework, it's having it set up to work for your business.
And that's a
your
big deal.
processes. Yes.
That's a big deal. Like for me, that would have been a big deal.
I mean,
'Cause
you
it's
can
like, I
pick
don't
how
have time
many.
to do this.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
we mentioned Salesforce and Pipedrive and all the
All
things.
of
You
them.
can pick one, but if it's not set up for you, you will never use it.
Yeah. And it's kind of like something you get brand new. When you first get it, you're excited about it.
Right.
You're playing with it. You're like, oh, it can do all this stuff. But hang on, I got to manually put all that in there.
And you're
And then
overwhelmed.
You're overwhelmed.
Yep.
And then you lose that interest. And
Right.
all of a sudden it sits aside.
And then you
Yeah.
go back
Yeah.
to the spreadsheets or the sticky
Oh, yeah.
notes because
And
you're
then
like,
and then the
enough.
automatic payment continues.
Yeah. Don't bring this
Yes.
up around Cecilia
Yes.
because she just, why don't you just do it this way? I go, because I don't want to do it that way. Well, you're stupid. I go, whatever. You have
This
to
is
know
his work
you have
wife,
to know
by the way.
Cecilia, but that's Cecilia.
oh, that's
Well,
funny.
we're going to need to head to a break here. These segments have been going great.
Go
It's
so
like I'm
fast.
learning so
Yeah.
much. I absolutely love it. So you're listening to Inside Business. Gary Tharnish here, co-hosting today with me is Todd Calfee, Shannon Filing. Travis is, again, I will say, much better half is with us, and we'll be right back.
and Gary Tharnish.
Welcome back to this, our last segment. It has gone so fast today.
So fast.
I'm Gary Tharnish. You're listening to Inside Business. My co-host today is Todd Calfee, filling in for Travis, and we're speaking with Shannon today from Transformation Marketing. And this is just kind of a wrap up. It's really just kind of all about you, and I'm excited to hear about an educational opportunity or a seminar or something you're doing.
Yep.
Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, but first of all, thank you, Shannon, because I've learned a lot.
Oh, well,
Yeah, me too.
I truly have. So I appreciate this
Attend my
opportunity. Yeah. So seminar?
A seminar, yes.
Yeah.
So
Can I
much to
come?
what- yes, it's on Zoom.
Oh.
It's-
Okay.
Look at him. Oh,
Can I be there live?
you can sit by me.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you can sit by me.
Deal.
I was just thinking about this, going, okay, this
too.
is lovely. So thank you for having me on the show, because I think this is so important, and I'm surprised how many people do not have these things available to them, or they are overwhelmed. They can't make a decision on 10 different CRMs that they may have even taken time to even look at. How do I weigh them out? And once I get them, how do I operate them? So I was thinking about, what am I doing repetitive? I'm having these same conversations that we've had today on air over and over again. So I'm like, I need to take my own advice. So I put together a 1-hour seminar that's going to be on Zoom on April 28th. And it's just going to be all about automations for small business. Will we go through everything? Absolutely not. We only have an hour. But it's going to get people to understand this isn't that scary. And yes, I can have automations in my business. And first and foremost, I don't have to do it myself. I can call Shannon. I can talk to a human that will put these, unhuman things together for me, for my own sanity, because I know what it's like working long hours on things that I really shouldn't have to do. And some of the most important things that you don't like to do, marketing oftentimes, then just gets ignored and you just don't do them.
Right.
Because that's the last thing that you want to do. So
But think about the companies that have continued. It goes back to what you were talking about with the Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
You hit them the one time and you think that's going to do it. No, you look at these companies that have succeeded for centuries.
Right.
Mhm.
They're consistent. They're always out there.
Mhm.
Right.
There's other ones that are not out there.
Yeah,
That they quit doing it because they didn't spend that $10,000 to get that instant gratification that didn't come.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Or
And you're calling it from chaos to control,
yes.
or I'd call it from chaos to free time. That's
There
what
you
would turn
go.
me on.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
love
oh, finally I get a little
Free
bit of time,
time.
because I mean, I think this is huge. And then will it be, you'll then sell it as a webinar on and on and on, because
Yeah,
it'll be so
it's-
useful.
My thought is number one, if I can give people the information that this is attainable, this is not right now with the technology that's available. It's not only available to big businesses anymore. So like Salesforce, big businesses still have Salesforce.
Yeah.
And it does some things very well and it does other things very horribly.
and it's a pretty hefty price tag too.
It's a big price tag. And most often these enterprises, they have someone full-time, if not more than one person, that's implementing it and doing it.
Mhm.
Small businesses don't have that. And guess what? We can still have all of the things that we need to have and more in our small businesses to thrive.
Yeah.
So who
Yeah.
should attend this, and how do they find out about it? Like, where do we go?
Yeah. So I'm going to market it everywhere starting tomorrow. I'm super
Okay.
excited. So I will actually put it up on the Inside Business Facebook page, but I will be promoting it on LinkedIn, my Facebook page. If you're in any of my small groups that I'm in, of course, you're going to get that. And I'm going to send out an e-blast. So this will be the first time that I've done it. Well attended, and people like it. They'll have a Q&A section. Now they have someone that they can ask the questions. If it's not during the webinar, it can be after the webinar.
Yeah.
I make myself available. So I plan on doing this more than once. If this is going to help people, then let's just have the seminar for once a month.
So if I'm listening, I'm thinking, okay, I don't know if I'm on your list. Can I go to Transformation Marketing and find it?
Yep.
Or do your LinkedIn, is it Transformation
It'll be on my
Marketing?
LinkedIn.
And it'll be there.
Shannon Filing
link to
on
it?
my
Okay.
LinkedIn. Yep. And it is April 28th, 9:30 to 10:30 in the morning. So carve out an hour out of your day to learn how automations can affect business in a very positive way.
Yeah, certainly.
I love
save
that.
some time.
Yeah. it
And
sounds
guess
wonderful.
what? If we're recruiting new people to come into us, they are expecting some technology. So, I mean, just even for survival and sanity,
Oh, yeah.
technology needs to be a part of that conversation.
Yeah.
So don't be intimidated by it, because it is not that intimidating, especially if you have someone setting it up for you.
Yeah.
And leading you through it.
And I'm assuming this is budget friendly for smaller businesses because you work with smaller businesses.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they can-
So Sam's system, you get every access to every bell and whistle that exists today, and that will come out for $297 a month. So that's way cheap. And so you aren't having all these add-on components that are going to have bloat in your budget that it explodes so fast. Well, like $20 here, $50 there.
Yeah, like you were saying, there was somebody that was spending $400 a month just
a house.
Just a house.
I was in a networking group recently, and afterwards we're all just drinking some coffee and talking. And one of the guys said to another person that was there, and said, "Well, do you use AI?" And he goes, "No, I can't stand AI. I don't use it." And the guy goes, "Oh, okay, so you have it." And he goes, "No, I don't use it." He goes, "No, I know, but you have it." And he goes, "What do you mean I have it?" He goes, "Artificial intelligence. You must have that because you're not that." And I was like, that's funny. And they laughed. I mean, they knew each other well enough that they could laugh. But if you kind of think about it, it's like, it's here to stay. It's like the law. I have a friend that teaches at the College of Business, and she teaches principles and practices of real estate. She also teaches at College of Law. But I was speaking there, and I went in, and she's like, "Oh, I'm grading these papers." And she goes, "I've got, every day I had to turn in an essay." And she goes, "There's 70 some students." Anyway, she goes, "These 31 are almost exactly alike. Chat GPT or Claude or somebody wrote all these." She goes, "I want to fail them all." She goes, "And instead I decided that this is the first generation of college students that are going to graduate where AI is in practice everywhere. I'm going to give the papers back and say, okay, good for you that you learned how to use this, but you all sound the same. Now you can take this information that it's taught and shared with you, but I want these back in your words." And she gave them a chance. She just took 10% off. Anyway, it was kind of interesting, but this has been a great show, Shannon. I love it. Transformation Marketing. They can find out about your webinar on LinkedIn. Just Google Transformation Marketing. Anything like that?
Shannon Filing on LinkedIn. It'll
not
be
Shannon
there.
Peterson, right?
Nope, not any of those other names.
I know that I come up with. And Todd, thank you so much for filling in for Travis. Appreciate it. It's always good to see you. And enjoy your work over at Western National and the training that you do physically. It's awesome. David, thank you. And we will be back next week.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.